Voters in France will go to the polls today to choose between Marine Le Pen and Emmanuel Macron in the country's presidential election. A warning, there's some flash photography coming up. In the past few minutes, the outgoing president, Francois Hollande, has cast his own vote. To be fair, it's not very exciting. Watch someone casting a ballot, is it? They're not going to say a lot, but there you go.
He'll be voting for Macron, though, we can assume.
Assume nothing?
Well, they've all rounded behind him.
Well, yes, they have, but you never know. Might all be show. You never know. It's the beauty of the ballot box, isn't it? It's always between you and the ballot box. Has he popped it in yet? No. I don't think he has. Let's talk, while we wait for that, let's talk to Rebecca Williams, who's in Le Touquet, where Emmanuel Macron lives, and will be casting his vote. See, the crowds are gathering a little bit, Rebecca?
Yes, they certainly are. In fact, I think probably most of Le Touquet's here this morning, waiting to see Emmanuel Macron arrive, cast his vote. That's due to happen in the next 20-25 minutes or so. And of course, here around 5,000 people are voting today. This is a very affluent, plush seaside resort. This is his hometown. Yesterday, a lot of media outside his house in the centre of town, waiting to get a glimpse of him. But it was his wife, Brigitte, that went out for a walk with her daughter and grandchildren. Of course, she is 25 years older than him. They met in Amiens when she was his drama teacher at school. He was just about 15, 16 at the time. But all eyes on Emmanuel Macron, the centrist, here in France today. Meanwhile, in other parts of the country, Marine Le Pen will be casting her vote at a similar time. There has been a bit of controversy, of course, yesterday. This news breaking from En Marche that a number of emails had been hacked. They were saying that some of those have now been spread onto social media and on the internet. Some are accurate and are real. Others are fake, and they are saying this is an attempt to destabilise democracy. There is now an investigation into that, but it's caused a lot of controversy here in France. There are around 70,000 polling booths across the country here today. The polls will be open for 12 hours, closing around 8 o'clock French time tonight. But so by 7 o'clock UK time, we should have an idea of who will get the keys to the Élysée Palace. Around 47 million people are eligible to vote, but as you can see, the weather is pretty horrendous here, especially in the north of France today. Whether that will have an impact, we will have to see. But like I say, we will have a clear idea of who wins this election by 7 o'clock. A number of issues, of course. There have been high levels of terrorism. This is a country on very high terror alert, very high levels of unemployment. These are all issues that the two candidates will need to deal with and need to sway voters, of course. But stay with us, we'll have coverage throughout the day.
Rebecca, thank you. Let's just take you to France, where the French presidential candidate Emmanuel Macron has just left his house. There you go, wave for the cameras. Quite an entourage with him, heading off to the polling booth, where he will be casting his vote, well, for himself, no doubt, up against Marine Le Pen. They're the two pretty much seen as the two outsiders who've made it into the presidential election race. Let's go to Le Touquet. Well, that's in Le Touquet, but let's go to the polling booth itself, where he's now speeding towards. Rebecca Williams is standing by for us there. It's interesting in all of this, Rebecca, is that we actually get the results pretty quickly, don't we?
Yes, we should have them pretty much, at least an insight, as soon as they close around 7 o'clock UK time. But as you say, Emmanuel Macron, this is his hometown here in Le Touquet. He's just left his home in the centre of this town, and it should take him just a few minutes, I'd expect, because it's just a couple of blocks away from here. He will come to this polling booth, and then he will cast his vote. You can see there are hundreds of people turned out to see him here today. In fact, pretty much most of the town, I'd say, because just 5,000 people are eligible to vote in Le Touquet. It's a very plush seaside resort in the north of France, and yes, he's made this his home. We're expecting him to arrive with his wife, Brigitte, who he's been married to for some time, but they met in Amiens, which is about an hour and a half's drive from here. She was his drama teacher. He was just 15, 16 when they met. She's about 25 years older than him. There was a lot of media presence outside their home yesterday because she went for a walk with her daughter and her grandchildren. And I should say here today there is a huge police presence, as you would probably expect. There's a police presence at many of the polling booths today because, of course, France is a country on very high terror alert. There's been so many incidents of late. That is one of the main issues that people that I've spoken to over the last week have said that they are finding. And, of course, high levels, too, of unemployment in this country. There has been a bit of controversy as well. We heard yesterday that hundreds of thousands of emails have been hacked from the En Marche group, the En Marche party. That's Emmanuel Macron's himself. They said this is an attempt to destabilise democracy. They said some of the emails have made their way onto the internet. They've been reported. Some of them are accurate and true. Some of them are fake. And there is now going to be an investigation by that. And the media have been warned that if they report any of the contents of these emails, they could face prosecution. We are still waiting, if you're just tuning in, for Emmanuel Macron to arrive here to cast his vote in the centre of Le Touquet. This is the polling station, one of 70,000 across the country here today. And 47 million people are eligible to vote, of course, in the overseas territories. They did so yesterday. The votes will be counted later on tonight. Polling booths open for 12 hours, so this one will shut at 8 o'clock at local time tonight. And by 7 o'clock, we should have a clear idea of who has got the keys to the Elysee Palace. Of course, it is a fight between the centrist Emmanuel Macron, who is very pro-EU, and Marine Le Pen, the right-wing controversial candidate, who wants to leave the European Union. But lots of people here waiting, taking photographs. I think he must be very, very close now because people closing in. We will try and get that shot for you when he arrives here. We have followed him actually on the campaign trail the last few days. He's been in Albi, which is in the south of France, and thousands of people turned out there to see him. But again, here in his hometown of Le Touquet, you can see people dashing in, trying to get a glimpse of him. He will have very, very high security. We'll move in so you can try and get a glimpse of him here. But coming up the road, lots and lots of police here. And then we expect him to go into this polling booth and cast his vote. Marine Le Pen, incidentally, around the same time, voting near to Lille. I think we're just going to run down the road here because he's arriving at a different location round the back. So if you just follow the cameras here, just running to catch up with this a little. There we go, such a media presence, so many people wanting to see him. And there he goes. He's come from his house, which is a couple of blocks away from here. You can probably see more on the phones taking pictures in front than I can. But there he is, Emmanuel Macron, the centrist, the pro-European candidate. He is arriving here, I suspect, with his wife, Brigitte, in his hometown of Le Touquet. The two of them, of course, met in Amiens, an area not far from here, about an hour and a half away by car. And the media scrum as he arrives here, a huge, huge police presence. And we can see him now arriving and going into this polling booth. People will be casting their votes here. There he is, Emmanuel Macron, heading in, greeting the crowds here in Le Touquet. And this polling booth will be open for 12 hours, and then we should have an idea of the results by around 7 o'clock UK time tonight about who will get the keys to the Elysee Palace. You'll see him enter through this polling booth now, and we will see him cast his vote. The votes will be counted here, and then later on tonight we will have full coverage around 7 o'clock. Do stay with us.
OK, Rebecca, thank you.